A cold evening breeze swept across the railway station, carrying with it the sound of footsteps, whistles, and hurried conversations. Amidst the noise, a small puppy lay curled beside an old wooden crate. His fur was dirty, his tiny body shivered, and his eyes darted nervously at every passing shadow. Dozens of people walked past, but no one stopped. Then, a kind-faced professor noticed him. He bent down and whispered softly, "Well now, what are you doing here all alone, little one?" The puppy tilted his head, ears twitching. The professor smiled gently, picked him up, and tucked him inside his coat. "Don't worry, you're safe with me." And that night, the nameless stray found not just a home, but a family. The professor called him Hachi. At first, Hachi was shy and timid, but soon his tail wagged at every smile. He followed the professor everywhere, through the garden, inside the house, and even to the station each morning. "Hachi, you're going to make me late," the professor chuckled one morning as the pup sat stubbornly at the door. But he gave in, and together they walked to the station. Hachi sat at the platform, ears high, watching his master board the train. "Go home now, Hachi," the professor called, waving. But instead, the little dog stayed until evening, waiting. When the professor stepped off the returning train, there he was, tail wagging, eyes shining. "You really waited for me," the professor laughed, kneeling to stroke his head. That day, a ritual was born. Day after day, Hachi walked with his master to the station in the morning and returned in the evening to greet him. The station workers noticed. "There's that dog again," one vendor said. "Loyal little fellow." Children pointed and giggled. "Look, he is waiting for his papa." Hachi became part of the town's rhythm, as much a part of the station as the trains themselves. Seasons passed. Spring flowers bloomed, summer sun blazed, autumn leaves fell, and snow blanketed the ground. But through it all, Hachi's routine never faltered. "Don't you ever take a day off, boy," the professor teased one evening, scratching his ears. Hachi barked softly in reply, as though saying, "Not from you." Their bond was unshakable, visible to anyone who saw them together. But life has its own cruel turns. One cold morning, the professor knelt by Hachi before leaving for work. "I'll be back on the evening train. Just like always. Wait for me, all right?" Hachi wagged his tail and barked once. The professor smiled, patted his head, and boarded the train. That evening, the train returned. The crowd spilled onto the platform. But Hachi's eyes searched and searched. His ears twitched at every familiar voice. But his master did not come. Hours passed. The crowd thinned. Lamps flickered on. Still Hachi sat, staring at the empty platform. The truth was harsh. The professor had collapsed at work, and his journey ended that day. But Hachi did not understand. How could he? To him, his master always returned. So the next day, he came again, and the next, and the next. Station workers pitied him. "He doesn't know. Poor thing," one murmured. A shopkeeper left scraps of meat near his paws. A little boy knelt down and whispered, "Don't be sad, doggy. He'll come back." But Hachi never moved until the last train left. Then he walked slowly home, only to return the next morning. Rain drenched him, snow froze his fur. The scorching sun burned his paws, but Hachi stayed. For weeks, for months, for years, always waiting. As time passed, Hachi grew older. His once golden coat turned white, his steps slower. But his spirit never faded. People came from nearby towns to see the dog who waited. Some tried to take him in, but Hachi always found his way back to the station. He had only one duty, to wait. One winter evening, an old vendor at the station knelt beside him. "Why do you still wait, Hachi? He's not coming back." Hachi looked up with tired eyes, then turned back toward the tracks, as if answering, "He promised, and I believe." The years weighed heavily on him. His body weakened. His breaths grew shallow. Yet every evening, he dragged himself to his spot, ears perked whenever a train arrived. Some passengers swore they saw tears in his eyes. Others said his tail still twitched faintly, holding on to hope. Children grew up hearing his story. Travelers told tales of him in distant towns. He had become more than just a dog. He was a symbol. And then, one quiet evening, as the sun set behind the station and the last train departed, Hachi lay down at his usual place. His head rested on his paws, his gaze fixed where he had always looked. The station grew silent, the air still. His chest rose and fell slowly, until finally it stilled. His waiting was over. Perhaps, in that moment, he saw his master again. Perhaps, after all those years, they finally walked home together. The town mourned him as if they had lost one of their own. People gathered at the station, telling stories of the loyal dog who had waited beyond reason. A statue was built where he had sat for so many years, so that travelers would always remember the lesson Hachi left behind. True love does not fade, and loyalty does not end with death. And so, Hachi's story lived on not just as the story of a dog, but as a reminder to us all. In a world where promises are easily broken and people often forget, one dog taught us what it means to wait, to believe, to love without end. Hachi was not just a pet. He was family. He was faith. He was love in its purest form. And though he is gone, the echo of his loyalty will remain, forever waiting at the station.